Chinese elders. Yeah, right. July 3, 2020 by Anna Von writes. The only Chinese person in this story was posing as a Filipino. Ferdinand Marcos, who was president of the independent government of the Philippines set up in 1934 to act as trustee for our gold reserves stored in the Philippine Islands, was Chinese. And his family was involved in international banking in the Orient for generations, all the way back to the Plum Blossom Bank. So we have a real blue-blood Chinese banking family overlord, Marcos, in charge of the government of the Philippines Inc., which was set up specifically to act as trustee of American gold that was illegally and immorally transported to the Philippines beginning in the 1890s by a Scottish commercial corporation infringing on our trademarks and copyrights and conducting business in our names without our knowledge or permission. That they got away with it this long is emblematic of the secrecy they maintained about all this for the better part of a century. What happens in Hong Kong stays in Hong Kong, and the same for Manila, because when people face facts the fantasies disappear. To be sure, not all the gold in the Philippines is American, but a substantial portion of it is, and there is no getting around that. The Chinese-Philippine government connect is not what it appears to be, then or now. The gold in question isn't Chinese and never was Filipino, either. So this whole idea that the Chinese elders should be allowed to glom into our assets at the behest of the World Bank, and determine whether we get our gold back or not, is ludicrous. Now, I know a lot of people don't like my sober opinion of the RV, either, but use your common sense. If someone admits that they are able to do an RV, they are also admitting to being criminals who achieved a total takeover and manipulation of the currency markets worldwide. That is the reason that an RV can't proceed in the way that the gurus describe it. They've gotten away with their crimes many times, but admitting it in public is a different thing. The basis of the RV would purportedly be vast new mineral deposit discoveries in Zimbabwe, which would wildly increase the value of that country's assets and currency. However, the discovery of massive mineral deposits in Zimbabwe is decades old, and what is really more to the point is their success or failure at getting a puppet installed as head of the government there. As we speak, the Chinese banker elders are leaving the U.S. and going to Zimbabwe to discuss the situation and cut the U.S. out of the RV, but that may not be so easy or advisable to do. We don't care if the U.S. is cut out of the settlement process, but we won't take it kindly if we, the actual Americans, are defrauded by Chinese elders. You see, it looks suspiciously like theft and World Bank chicanery to me, and simply in terms of what would happen to the individual perpetrators of such a scheme, it seems extremely ill-advised to me. They may not care about anything but their delusional devotion to money, but as they wake up and realize that they will be signing their own death sentences if they attempt to pull this off, and that they will stand accused of worldwide, long-term commodity price rigging and monopoly interest market control to boot, sobriety may set in. The Chinese elders pretending to be Filipinos and Indonesians are under demand to return the trust assets held for us in the Philippines and in the World Bank and in the Global Debt Facility. Imagine that? That the actual owners and depositors should get back their own assets? We have all the records and receipts of what was done in our names. The rest of the world now knows what the deal is and how the crooks have misrepresented it. Yes, Virginia, things really are this screwed up, and no, it can't be fixed without a major overhaul, whether you call the bankers involved Chinese elders or not. Just remember that just as Marcos was never Filipino, the U.S. has never been America either. That is American gold in the Philippines and at the World Bank, and we are the American government. We are the ones with the history, provenance and deposit receipts. Not the U.S. So even though the rogue elements of the U.S. military offered to sell our farm to the Chinese, it doesn't matter, because our farm was never theirs to sell, and our gold is our gold, too. Any problem the Chinese elders have needs to be addressed to the Pope, the Queen, and the Lord Mayor, and all our purloined assets need to be returned to us. Links to Anna's articles and resources can be found in the video description box. Thank you for subscribing, liking and sharing. If you enjoy having Anna's latest articles made into videos, please consider making a purchase from Ed's website sacredintuitiveelements.com. Thank you.